headed down to the neon lights. It's where I wanna be, cause I'm just trying to make it.
You're listening to the Diamonds in the Rough podcast.
I'm just trying to make it.
Powered by Prospects Live.
Still an elite song from Colin Hawk right there. Gets me fired up, ready to go start this pod every single time.
I should have used it as my walk-up song.
You should have. That'd have been nasty. All right, today is June 15th. It's a Wednesday. Means we're back. I'm Cole Wilcox, your host, joined as always by Schnelly and Shook. Boys, good week so far.
Great week.
Been a good one.
Thanks.
Great week for Schnelly. You got the boy back with you. And the girl. Boy and the girl.
Yep. My mom and dad were here my dad was here for half the week. My mom was here for most of the week. So, she's still here. She'll be here all next week too when we're on the road helping Carly out. But yeah, nice to have the family back with me. Griffey, no, he's not out here, but he's in Charleston, but they're out on the porch. I thought Griffey was going to be here. I was going to call him over, but
not only did they come and obviously it's good to have family back, but they brought you some hits too.
Oh yeah,
seeing it well, barreling it up.
Yeah, let's just say I've basically quadrupled. Not actually, I think I've almost tripled as many multi-hit games as I had last year this year already. So
not bad. I don't know if that speaks to last year or this year.
I think a little bit of both.
Oh man, well, I want to jumpstart this pod with first off, let me go zoom out right here. I'm gonna shout out Turtle Box. As you guys know, it's the best speaker in America. And listen, the listeners out there are putting up numbers. As you see on the bottom of this screen, if you're on YouTube. If you're not on YouTube, as always, you can use the code DNR15 to get 15% off of anything Turtle Box. But listen, if you order one and use the code, post it, shout us out, tag us, tag Turtle Box. We'll repost it, retweet it, whatever it is. But yeah, these speakers, as you can see on this desk, I mean, it's nasty. You can get the color combos that you want. They're dropping some college colors now. Schnelly just got an orange and white one, like an absolute sheep. There's just no good color combo with that. But yeah, get your Turtle Box. Use our code. You can put them by the pool. You can put them in the boat. You can throw them in the ocean, and it still works. So
I wasn't dogging on your color choices. You picked white and red to go with Georgia.
Actually, I didn't even pick that. They just sent it to me because they know me.
I picked white and orange to go for Illinois.
Yeah, Illinois.
Yeah. And literally I would have gone with the black and gray one, but my dad was literally like, they got an orange and white one or an orange and blue one?
Orange and blue sucks too. Tough.
I was like, I don't know. And then I saw the white and orange one, and I was like, all right, I already got the Gen 1 green one. So I was like, I might as well.
Yeah, and on the back end of the pod, as always, we got an awesome interview with Mariners pitcher and social media star Sam Carlson. He was awesome. He's going to help us build the brand, to say the least. The guy had some knowledge. So he was a great interview, great story too. So excited for y'all to hear that. But speaking of great stories, I want to get y'all started off with one that only happens in the FCL. So to explain to those who don't know what the FCL is, Florida Coast League. Is that what it is?
Florida Complex League.
Florida Complex League. Something. Anyway, it's where, especially, like it just started, but it's a lot of young guys, a lot of guys who rehab an injury. So I heard this story this week. Should go ahead and add that thing in here. And I had to get the report.
Welcome. This is Antonio Mendez, right-handed pitcher, currently FCL legend. But he just an unbelievable story we heard today, so I'm just going to let him tell it here.
All right, so it's a 7-inning game. The Braves didn't want to go all 9. They didn't have enough pitching. So I'm the oh shit guy today. So first inning, just in case the guy runs out of pitches, I get hot, ready to go.
The best job in sports.
Oh, yeah. So end up getting hot for no reason. Come out, sit there for 4 innings. They tell me in the 5th, hey, you're just going to throw a bullpen. You're going to start on Monday. So I throw a 20-pitch bullpen. It gets to about the 6th inning. We're up 12-1, and all of a sudden, all the guys in the bullpen just decide to leave. They walk out. They want to go hit the showers. In the 7th, the guy goes out there and starts walking the house. Next thing you know, they call to the bullpen, hey, get hot, and the guy's not there. Our coach runs out, runs into the locker room, finds the guy in the showers. Nobody's getting hot. So then more runs score, more walks come in. The guy runs out and tells me, hey, I guess you're fucking pitching. So I start getting hot. Finally, we get out of the game. And there's no pitchers in the bullpen. They just decided to hit the showers early.
What do you think the reasoning was just to leave? Do you have any idea?
Burger Day, number one. Weekend's coming up. They want to get the heck out of here. And they thought, oh, it's 12-1. Game's over.
I've never heard anything like that in my life.
FCL
But
Classic.
you didn't go in, right?
No, did not go in. Threw about 40 pitches in the pen. Got to start on Monday. Let's go.
But you're going to feel like you went in tomorrow.
Absolutely. 100%.
What a story. Only in the FCL, folks.
No shot that happened.
They just dipped, bro. He came
No
in.
shot.
He came in, and I heard him talking. I was doing my own thing, and I heard him talking to the people in there, and I started hearing the story, so I started paying more attention. And yeah, he said that second inning he started getting hot because Patino was pitching, and he was running out of pitches. So he started getting loose, and then Patino got the out. So he sat down, and they had the rest of the game mapped out. There's only 7 innings, so he was like, they called down, they're like, you're starting Monday, throw a bullpen. He said this was the 5th inning, like he said. So he threw a full bullpen, like getting ready for a start. And then, yeah, he said 6th inning, everybody just bounced, went to the showers. And the funniest part of the story is he didn't tell it on there because I don't even know if it happened yet. So he's telling us this story, and we're all listening. Like, everybody coming from rehab, we're all locked in, and nobody can believe it. We're like, they just left? They're like, yeah. And we're like, are they getting released? And he was like, I don't know, I hadn't heard anything. About that time, Rafi, who's the manager of the FCL, pokes his head in the training room and he says, Mendez, you want to hear this? And he kind of looked stern. So I was like, oh, somebody's getting chewed. Well, like 5 minutes later, he comes back in and we're like, what happened? And he said, they just gave out pitcher and player of the game. And we're like, did you get it? He said, no. So he popped in, made him leave to come listen to it. He didn't even get it, and they sent him back. Unbelievable. Just dipped.
Dude, no. My mind's blown right now. No chance that happened. Oh, my God.
We were all sitting in the training room just like, we couldn't, like, we kept asking, so they just left?
Yeah,
like,
I can't fathom that
left.
right now.
I kept trying to think of a reason, but like he said, it was 12-1, so I guess they thought it was canned, but still, they just left.
Just dipped out of the
And keep
bullpen.
in mind,
like legitimately, that's the only thing that can happen right there is them be released. They should be released.
That's what we were talking about in the training room. Like, it's not like these are big leaguers, guys. Like, keep that in mind. This is the lowest level of the minor leagues. And the funniest part about Mendez is he should be on a team. He's coming back from TJ. He goes like 3 shutout every week, and he's still down here, so he's already upset about that. And now they got him getting loose in the 2nd, throwing a bullpen in the 5th, and then having to get loose again in the 7th to go in the game because nobody's in the bullpen.
So now he's done 60 pitches 2 days before he starts.
And he starts Monday.
Good Lord.
Yeah. So I don't know exactly how the outing went. We're recording this on Monday, but yeah, just an unbelievable story. I had to get in-person interview at the time. So that's a good way to get cranking up. If that wouldn't have started the pod, something else would have started the pod. And listen, the last 2 days, I guess just today, I've woken up and needed no coffee because when Tennessee loses, it fuels me. It's like caffeine flowing through my body. I tweeted out, listen, I've been in that situation where you're clearly one of the best 8 teams in the country. In 2019 at Georgia, we were one of the best 8 teams in the country. We lost to Florida State. It's all about who gets hot. It's all about, that's what baseball is. And I try to tell everybody on the space. Were you able to join that space or no the other night?
Yeah, I was on it for a second.
Yeah. So me and another guy at Prospects Live, Joe Doyle, we hosted a college baseball space the other night and had a lot of people in there. It was a lot of fun. We're going to do it again before the College World Series. So everybody hop in that. Should be probably Thursday night. But that's what I said. Like, listen, everybody thinks Tennessee has a cakewalk because they were so good in the regular season. Notre Dame is really good, and they got screwed out of a hosting spot, and they have arms. Like, they have the deepest team in the country in arms. Like, they could rival Tennessee in that department. So I was telling everybody, I'm like, listen, it's not a cakewalk. Like, they're going to be good. They're old, and being old in college baseball is like a cheat code. It's the best thing you can be. That's all college sports, really. And, yeah, they walked into Knoxville and wore them out, and I could not be happier. Shook, did you watch any of that last game?
Yeah. It was like you and I were talking about, I think Friday night during the game or whatever. I was like, I'll watch Notre Dame play 4 games against Florida State, and they did not make a single mistake.
Yeah.
And I think that's such an underrated, like when you talk about baseball, especially postseason baseball, the magnitude of that, super regionals, mistakes matter and hurt and all that. And Notre Dame is just flawless in everything they do.
What Tennessee has done all year, and that's what good teams do, is when a team makes a mistake, they're like hyenas. They jump all over it. And Notre Dame they made a few. They made like multiple base running errors in the third game. Like it wasn't like they played the cleanest game in the world, but they were just old. They never got worried. I mean, they were getting shut down for 6 innings from Chase Burns, who's a stud. And that 7th inning, he ran out, and they just ran into some. What's the third baseman's name? Do you remember, Shook?
I do not.
He's a monster.
Yeah.
I think he's like a fringe first rounder, like fringe first, second rounder. Dude, he was a vacuum at third, and they kept hitting it there. And then, he hit that go-ahead bomb that was an absolute no-doubter. Yeah,
Ziska, is it?
No, but I was happy for Notre Dame, even regardless they were playing Tennessee, because they should have hosted. Obviously, they'll trade that now because they get to go to Omaha. But yeah, nobody deserved to lose more than Tennessee fans. It has nothing really to do with the players or anything, but the fans were just. They talked about all season it's the best college baseball team of all time, all this stuff, but when you haven't watched baseball for very long, like Tennessee fans haven't, you don't understand how the sport works. In football, when you have that dominant of a season, you're probably going to win it all. Basketball, honestly, March Madness is wild, but they usually go far. Baseball, and I tweeted it out, is the greatest equalizer in all sports because you get hot, you get guys on the mound who can compete. They weren't scared of the Tennessee lineup. They went right at them. That freshman that came at the end of the game, the lefty, was nails.
Finley.
Yeah, nails. That's baseball. That's why we watch it. That's why we love it. And it is an upset because Tennessee was so good, but Notre Dame is good. And they, in my opinion, they're going to come out of that side of the bracket in Omaha because they have the arms were very impressive. I mean, they started a guy game 3. They were like, we don't have really any starters left. He was 96 to 98. I mean, they had a starter left.
Is Florida State going to get their Notre Dame's head coach?
Yeah. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. I think he's choice A, B, and C. So I think this hire, because not to bore you with Florida State talk, but this is really the first big hire he's had to make. He's had to make 2 previous hires, but they were kind of layups with women's basketball and soccer. So I don't know. It'll be interesting.
I don't think you fire Mike Martin Jr. without having a locked-in plan. Like that's what Tennessee football's run into when they fired Fulmer. Like you only fire somebody like that if you have a clear plan. Like when Georgia fired Mark Richt, they had Kirby Smart waiting. Like you don't fire somebody of that magnitude unless you have something waiting. So in my opinion, I think he is going. And people may be like, well, why on earth would he go there? Like he's going to the World Series as like a Notre Dame coach. Notre Dame's a little harder to recruit to than Florida State. And it's nothing against the school, but Notre Dame has some serious academic qualifications that are serious. Like Georgia's hard to get into, but you can bypass that if you're an athlete.
He played at Florida State, I'm pretty sure.
Right, yeah, he's got roots there.
Yeah.
So it ain't just like off the wall.
And 2, there's a lot of like listening to kind of the names that have popped up and in the coaching search. There's a lot of former Seminoles that are in coaching now. You talk about a guy like James Ramsey at Georgia Tech, who was a stud at Florida State. He's at Georgia Tech now as their associate head coach or whatever. I think the thing with him is going to be, is he ready to be a head coach? But, Rammer's a professional, and I really like him. Also, Doug Mitkevich, who was a minor league manager forever.
Good player, too.
Yeah, really good player.
Big leaguer.
Yeah, so I don't know. It'll be interesting. I think they've got a lot of guys to pick from, but I think Link Jarrett is.
I mean, he's got to be the head.
He's head and shoulders above.
But
else.
I mean, that's obviously the headlines of Tennessee Super. But there's a lot of really good baseball. Ole Miss's bullpen has not given up a run this postseason.
Wow.
They went 12 1/3 scoreless in the regional, and then they shut out Southern Miss in 2 games in the Super. Nobody gave up a run. They had a freshman go 7 scoreless yesterday. So they're hot. I wouldn't want to play them right now at all. Arkansas's hot. And listen, I don't want to beat my chest too much on the space. I wish I had recorded it so I could have just played it and wouldn't have had to act like I know everything. But I said the UConn game, which is playing right now, I've been trying to keep up with it. Somebody was acting like Stanford was a lock to go, and Stanford's very good. But everybody's just trashing UConn because their name's UConn. UConn has won 50 games. They know how to win. Any team who's won 50 games is dangerous. I don't care what name is on the front of their jersey. When you know how to win in baseball,
3-2 right now.
That's a big deal. Yeah. So I try to tell everybody that's not a cakewalk, and I told everybody Auburn is super hot and they can swing it, and they're going to give Oregon State all they want in Corvallis. So I'm not saying I'm an expert, but I'm also not saying I'm not.
It's 3-2, and they got bases loaded right now. UConn
Yeah, as the kids say, I know ball. I played it, I've been there. But yeah, super have been awesome. Regionals are fun just because of the format.
Yeah.
But I love the supers because it's what you do all year. You play 3-game series. That's how the best team is determined, in my opinion. A regional, the best team cannot get out of it just because it's bad luck. But a super, you have to be the better team for the weekend, and that's why I like seeing the pitching changes and stuff, because it's such a strategic advantage if you can get pitching to day 3. But yeah, Omaha's gonna be sick. We'll have a space about it. Everybody join in, give me your opinions. We'll probably have less because there was a bunch of Tennessee fans in there chirping around. But I had one Tennessee buddy who was in the space and was talking some, and he sent me the Happy Gilmore, I'm right, you're wrong, I'm dumb, you're smart video. I was like, it's tough, man. Tough being a Tennessee fan. I just don't hate it for them though. What else we got? Oh yeah, so bringing back a segment we hadn't done it in a while. Streaking and slumping. We've had a lot of time in between these, so we should have some good ones. Shook, we'll start with you. Give us a streaking.
Well, you kind of stole it earlier. I was going to say Notre Dame. Also, a team that, there was some talk about them shouldn't be hosting, shouldn't be number 14 or whatever they're seeded, but they came out and proved everybody wrong, and right now they're 1 win from Omaha against Oregon State tonight.
So you cut out a little bit. You're talking about Auburn though?
Yeah, Auburn scored 51, I believe it was.
They can swing it, dude. Like they can really, really hit, and they've got arms. Like that's what I was saying. Like nobody wants to go to Corvallis at this time of year because they just know how to get to Omaha. There's some teams that like once you establish that culture, it's just like Louisville. Like I was surprised they didn't put them away like that because
they were 2 good games though.
Very good games. Yeah, and they had it won. It's just, but you talk about it like culture to a lot of outsiders. I think culture seems like an eyewash thing. It's like A&M goes and gets Coach Schlossendale. I think I said that right. That dude's been to Omaha. He's been in the final series. Like the dude knows how to win. He came in, gets some transfers, establishes that culture, and it pays off. Like if you can establish that around this time of year and know how to win, it's such a big advantage. And to teams that can pull it off, you don't want to play them. So like Louisville, Oregon State, Stanford, even Texas, Florida State, like you don't want to play those teams. So yeah, I mean, going to Corvallis sucks, but Auburn was up to the challenge. So we'll see what happens tonight. Schnell, you got a streaking?
The Roncalli high school softball team. My high school softball team won state. They went 33-0 this year. They have the number 1 player in the nation, and she had 16 or 17 Ks in the state championship game, and they won 15-0.
There's 15-0 in the state championship game is ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's just being better than everyone.
She's a junior, so they won it last year. They won it this year, and they're gonna win it next year.
Yeah, you're gonna win it. That's what's crazy about softball is they can just throw every game. So if you have a pitcher like that,
she went 28-0 this year, and they've won 44 straight games at my high school.
That's so sick. I was asking a softball pitcher if she gets sore like when they're done. She's like, "Yeah, I get pretty sore," but I want to know like how relative sore it is because I physically could not pitch the next day, but they just roll right through. So maybe they're just tougher than we are.
Maybe.
But, yeah, my high school won state. Were we already out of high school when they won it?
Yeah, it was a year after we graduated.
Yeah, but they had a pitcher that went to Clemson, Rachel Gibson. She was a monster, and so That's also a cheat code. Old teams in college are a cheat code, and having a dirty pitcher on the mound is a cheat code in softball. All right, my streaking is it was a slumping turn streaking. So I'm going back to school. I'm getting educated. Figured I needed it. Got a lot of downtime. So I'm taking some classes, and I have an English 2 class. And everybody knows how English teachers are. They do the most. I mean, they are very, very committed to their job. We'll leave it at that. And I get on the other day, and she won't release, like, it's an online class, but she won't release anything in advance. So you can't get ahead. She wants us to work slow. So I'm, whatever. You go day to day, which kind of sucks because you take an online class so you can do it when you have off days. But this is, like I said, they take it very serious. And I get on there the other day, and we have this quiz over this book that we're supposed to read. And keep in mind, there's no reading guide or anything. Like, it's just, hey, be reading this book. Chapters 1 through 27. And it was due that night. 1 through 27. I was like, I saw it, and I was like, oh, my gosh. Like, there's just no chance. So I looked at the book, and the chapters are very, very small. For 27 chapters, I think it was 120 pages. Now, listen, in college, back in my day,
so many pages.
It's a lot of pages. Back in my day, in college, in my prime, I'm not reading this. I will not read it. I'll buy the Spark Notes thing. Whatever it takes, I will not read this book. I will spend more time trying to figure out how to not read this book, and I could have just read it during that time. But here's where I've matured, and here's where I've changed. I looked at my phone. It was 2:30. And I looked at my schedule, and there wasn't a dang thing on it. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do it. And I actually enjoyed the book. It wasn't terrible. I thought it was going to be awful. The title of the book is, oh, man, tough. Something about
all 27 chapters, huh?
Yeah, no, I did crush it. It's right there on my bed, but it's turned face down. I was just reading some more of it. But, like, it did keep my interest, and I actually read the book. It really wasn't terrible. So, yeah, I crushed it, took the quiz. Pretty sure I aced it. But, yeah, that was my streaking. I was on an absolute hot streak for 2 hours. My slumping was just an all-time slumping. I mean, this might be the most slumped anyone's been on this podcast yet. So, Joe Madden.
Oh, dude.
Bless his
now
heart.
I got to find another one.
That was yours?
Yes.
Bless the man's heart. Listen, Joe Madden's in the twilight of his career. He's had a great career coaching. World Series champ. Kind of flipped the Rays franchise as the manager. So the guy is the manager of the Angels. And listen, the Angels are ultra talented. They should be better than they are. It's just one of those things, like, I think you could put the best 11 players, including the pitcher and a closer, in an Angels uniform or a Mets uniform, and they are still going to stink. Like, that's just how it is. And they're gonna be good for a little bit, and they're gonna fade. That's just what happens to the Angels and the Mets. So I don't know how much the blame goes to Joe Madden, but they fired the guy. Well, that's not even the worst part. Getting fired midseason is bad enough. So that day he rolled in with a mohawk because the Angels were on a 14-game losing streak, and he got a mohawk to try to break it. I can just imagine, like, the general manager getting him at the door when he walks in and being like, hey, Joe, we got to talk. And the first thing in his mind, he's like, I'm getting fired. And I just shaved my head. Like, I feel like he was probably more disappointed in the fact he just shaved his head into a mohawk and got fired than, like, actually getting fired. So the guy is probably walking around with a buzz cut now, like he just got out of prison. And he got fired. So, slumping, Dr. Joe. Schnelly, you got a new one?
Yeah, we'll stay on this Angels trend. Everybody who was freaking out about Mike Trout being 0 for however many is slumping. Because the dude is the greatest of all time, and look at him now. He's past it, and he hit 2 homers last night, or maybe not last night, a couple of nights ago. But everybody who's getting all, like, bent out of shape about Mike Trout being on the biggest freaking cold streak of his life needs to relax. He still probably will find a way to win MVP if he stays healthy all year. He's still the best player in baseball. It's just that is what it is.
So fans who are freaking out are slumping.
Yeah, they're slumping. You took mine. That's the best I can come up with.
Yeah, that's not bad. Not a bad one at all. Shook, you guys one?
Yeah, so this is going to kind of be a weird one, and I'm probably going to get some flack for this, but the past couple of years, I've hated the way that Louisville Baseball approaches the end of the season. And I'll explain to you why. So Louisville came to the ACC in 2013, I believe. They have not won a conference tournament since they joined the ACC. They haven't won a conference tournament since they won the Big East in 2009. And really, my whole basis for this is they seem to just throw away the conference tournament every year, which perfectly fine with that. It really doesn't matter at the end of the day. And then they still end up with a number 12 overall seed, or in the Supers, 2 wins away from Omaha. So yeah. I don't know. That's always bugged me.
It's honestly, it comes down to strategy. It's like basketball. If you want to win the national championship, you can't win your conference tournament.
Well, Coach Mack's never even been to the finals. He's never been to they're every year. That's I agree, Shook, because and I was just talking to a guy who went to Louisville, and he says that's the whole thing at Louisville. And I love Coach Mack. I played for him for Team USA. It was we're not going to change what got us here. He's a big towards the end of the game, pinch run somebody, steal them, and they get hosed all the time. But they had the time run on. They threw a guy out there, and he ran on the first pitch and got hosed. And it's like there's no outs. I'm like, dude, just hit a double. That's just or a hit and run something.
They also pinch ran, tried to bunt him over, bunted right back to the pitcher, got their pinch runner thrown out at second as well.
Yeah, it's tough. And that's the whole thing. We're not going to change what we do. But at the same time, getting thrown out in the 7th inning in March is a lot different than getting thrown out in the 7th inning in June. It gets tough. Unless you have an elite base stealer that you can pinch run and know, this guy knows when to go. If he gets a bad jump, he's going to stop. If you get some guy who's not loose, who's just fast, that's a big, bad stereotype about baseball. Just because you're fast does not make you a good base runner. And just because you're slow doesn't make you a bad base runner. Yeah. There's good base runners on both spectrums. Getting the jump, knowing when to go, all that stuff is part of being a good base runner. If you just throw in somebody because they're fast and tell them to steal, more times than not, they're going to get hosed by good catchers. I was also thinking, how bad would it suck, if you're Evan Russell for Tennessee and you've thrown out, I think now, 10 out of 80 base runners on the year, and if somebody gets to first, they're going. You're in the scouting report as we're running on you.
That's how people get the freaking Y word.
Yeah, and they look, and listen, hats off to him because I played with him back in the day, and he was not a catcher. He was an outfielder. He played outfielder for 3 years for Tennessee, and they needed a catcher this year, and he stepped up and did it, which is a big hats off to him because that's the hardest position to learn in baseball, just to pick up, especially when you have their pitching staff where it's just all dude after dude. So hats off to him for that, but. The guy, as soon as somebody gets to first, you're like, they're about to pick on me. I got to hose somebody. I bet there's just a lot of pressure, and I bet that really sucks. Yeah. But, yeah, like I said, first off, credit to him for stepping up because that cannot be easy to do. There's just trying to pick up catching right now, I couldn't even imagine. Does that everybody go through? Yeah. Slumping, streaking. Those were good ones. So I sent out to the group before this a little baseball talk. We don't really get into the nitty gritty of MLB very often. We kind of just hit certain points, but I want to talk a little baseball because who does? We haven't talked baseball in a while. So I sent everybody give me a stat or something interesting that's going on in the sport right now. And so I'll start, give everybody a little taste of what's happening. I want to start with something I think is flying under the radar. And I say I think flying under the radar because it might not be. I haven't watched MLB Network in a while, so they might be talking about it a lot. And I wouldn't surprise me because this team gets talked about all the time. But the Yankees are having a historically good year. They are a wagon. I saw today that Garrett Cole has the lowest ERA in the rotation at 3.6. The other 4 are under 3. Nestor Cortez is under 2. Severino looks like his old self, which was an ace when he was healthy. Jordan Montgomery is just like as solid as it gets at a 5. Garrett Cole is an ace. He was under 3 before his last outing when he got rocked. I promise you, nobody wants to hit off Garrett Cole in October. They're a wagon, and it's led by who, at this point, it's hard to say he's underrated, but the numbers he's putting up right now are I looked at his career numbers the other day, and I'm talking about Aaron Judge if you haven't picked that up yet. The dude has a career OPS over 900.
Yeah, that's incredible.
He's a monster. And not only is he putting up these stats that are like OPS, like power stats, he's hitting 320. He's hitting 320 with 24 jacks on the year. He's on pace to hit 65, which would break the American League home run record. And the Yankees are on pace to win 119 games, which, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that breaks the single season wins record. I think it's 116.
They're on pace to do it.
So, yeah, Aaron Judge has 24 home runs a month before the All-Star break. That is nuts. He struck out 64 times on the year in 257 plate appearances. So, he's slugging 686 with an OPS of 1.077, pushing 1.1. He's having an unbelievable year. So, he's like a lock for MVP if it ended right now.
Yeah.
And just the way he hits is he's so balanced. It's incredible really to be so big, to not to be able to control the zone like that, and just take, if they go outside, you just flip it to the other side. If they make a mistake, you hit it 450 feet poolside. Dude's a monster.
That's it. He's so strong. He's literally just so strong and he, like you said, he's able to stay balanced. And at that point, and when he's that long, and you're that strong, if you get he gets fooled sometimes, and he just can flick it to right field. He hits homer, especially in Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, and what's crazy is he's having such a good year. It's overshadowing Stanton, who's kind of hidden in that lineup now, who's hitting 276 with 13 jacks and an 877 OPS.
Yeah. So
there's really nowhere to hide in that lineup. And you got Rizzo, a bunch of lefties who can put the bat on the ball, and Mayhew. I mean, yeah, they're going to be tough to beat at any point. I think they're getting Zach Britton back soon. So good luck beating the Yankees right now. But the Rays are kind of their kryptonite. So they'll probably clip them in October. Shook, what you got?
So I'm going to stay on the Yankee train and go to obviously kind of caught a lot of publicity for going over to the Yankees from the Cardinals earlier this year, or the Rangers, sorry. Matt Carpenter.
Dude.
Yeah. This guy's something else. So for him, 6 of his first 7 hits in a Yankees uniform were home runs. And the other one, funny enough, was a bunt single.
Yeah. And that was that video that John Boy broke down, right? Where he was tipping signs. And I think he took the bunt single to get on so they could get the pitches.
Yeah.
Did you see that? Did you watch that video? That was nuts.
Yeah,
he got when the guy was in the stretch, he was tipping his pitches. So they were shifting on Matt Carpenter. And listen, bunting's a thing of the past. Any coach in baseball is going to tell you, I don't care if they're shifted, hit the ball over the fence. Especially Matt Carpenter. That's why they signed him, a lefty in Yankee Stadium.
I will say this: the other day, I was told by somebody in the Rays organization to lay a bunt down. That he wanted to see me to bunt for a base hit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That made me mad. Base hit's a base hit. They shift me too, so I'll just I'll take a hit.
And you're a base stealer, so that turns into a double.
Yeah. And they shift me so much, if I get a hard bunt down the line, I may be able to turn it into a double on its own.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that makes sense. But Matt Carpenter's not stealing bags.
Yes.
So he gets that bunt single, gets to first, and then the guy's tipping pitches. So then they just rocked him. Crazy. And that's sick that John Boy found that and did that video. That dude's pretty elite.
He's also the first Yankee to hit at least 6 home runs in 10 games, which that probably doesn't seem like very interesting, but I thought that was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, they roll out Hall of Famers left and right.
Yeah, you think of all the great players, hitters, whatever they've had.
Remember when Gary Sanchez got called up for the last 2 months of the season and almost won Rookie of the Year because he he was the best player ever for 2 months. I remember Brian McCann was on the team and they benched him. And they asked him about it, how do you feel? And he was emotional about it, but he was like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I remember his quote was, they'd walk Babe Ruth, or they'd walk him to get to Babe Ruth at this point. Like, he was just hitting a home run every time he touched the plate.
Yeah.
That was sick. Snelly, what you got?
I guess we all just are staying on the Yankee train. Clay Holmes, I believe his name is, hasn't given up a run since opening day.
That's crazy.
And then Edwin Diaz has like a 17.1 K to walk ratio or something like that. Or no, K per 9. 17.1 K per 9.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. Right now.
That's nuts.
Yeah. So
another guy that's flying under the radar, so we can get off the Yankees a little bit, Paul Goldschmidt, which I don't know how this dude always flies under the radar. Like, he's putting up
been
numbers.
good every single year for
He's
ever.
like legitimately like a top 5 first baseman of all time. Like, the dude is unbelievable. His numbers on the year, he's hitting 327, slugging 577 with a 988 OPS. He has 12 bombs, 19 doubles. He's a machine. Like, you go to his baseball reference, and like, if you do the block,
career WAR?
Does it show that on Baseball Reference?
Yeah. I'll find it.
Yeah, you get it because I'm looking at the main stats right now. You go to his Baseball Reference and just like look at stuff. Like, his OPS plus is 184 right now. Like, he hasn't hit under 290. He did 1 year in 19. That was his first year with the Cardinals, where it was the only year in his career he struggled. Other than that, he hadn't hit under 290 since 2013. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those years he hit over 300, and 2 of them were 297.
His career WAR is a 53.5.
He bangs. What is it?
53.5.
He's in 15. He had a 1 OPS.
Yeah, he's a
Dude's a
6-time
monster.
All-Star, 4-time Gold Glove, 4-time Silver Slugger.
Yeah, like, I understood how he slid under the radar in Arizona, but I'm not really understanding how he's doing it in St. Louis still. Him and Arenado, who are both monsters. Yeah, that guy's a beast.
His career average is 294 with 292 homers.
That's unbelievable. And a Gold Glove first baseman.
Yeah.
I've got another one if I can add something. It's kind of unrelated, but so for those of you that don't follow college softball, Oklahoma won the national championship against Texas.
So they're better than Tennessee officially.
Boo.
They're officially better than Tennessee.
Here's the great thing about it, and I had never known this. There is no run rule in the championship game or the championship series. And I don't think anybody knew that until this year.
Is there a run rule in the season?
Yeah, it's 8 after 5.
In softball?
Yeah, in softball.
8?
Run rules. Yeah, 8 runs after 5 innings.
That's same for high school because I thought the same thing. Because, like, Roncalli was up 12-0 after, like, the 4th inning. And I was like, I'm pretty sure it's a run rule, but they played
8
all 7.
after 5.
Yeah,
that's
what's even
that seems
what's
low.
even crazier is Oklahoma's got 40 run rule wins on the year. Would have had 42, but anyway, so
dominated everybody.
Dude, I had like a really good like thought about Shook and I's argument the other day, and I told myself to remember to say it, but I'm blanking right now.
Yeah, Schnell used the common Ben Joyce throws 105 argument against Oklahoma. So,
I mean, they aren't touching that.
So
I did watch, and Keegan Rothrock is the best pitcher in the nation. She's the freaking pitcher for Roncalli. Dude, I was watching that game. I'm confident after seeing 1AB against her that I could at least foul off every single pitch I see.
Yeah.
At least foul it off. And then eventually I'm going to make contact, and I'm either going to hit a line drive through somebody or over a 200-foot fence.
I really wish Montana Fouts wouldn't have stood us up. That would have just been the most elite content ever.
Dude, I'm confident in that.
Jocelyn Allo, who his career's over now at Oklahoma, she hit 122 total home runs, which is
That's crazy.
Obviously number one among all college softball players. The distance around the bases for a home run trot, again, if you're a math fan, you'll enjoy this. is 240 feet. If you multiply 122 by 240, you get 29,280. Divide that by the number of feet in a mile, which is 5,280. You get 5.45 miles.
That's sick.
Jocelyn Allo has trotted around the bases nearly 5.5 miles.
That's
And
awesome.
to put that into perspective, the distance from my house to where I went to high school is 4.5 miles. And when traveling down US 19, it takes you 5.7 miles to get from Clearwater, which is the Phillies spring training complex, to Dunedin, which is the Blue Jays spring training complex.
That's freaking awesome. Now I want to go through like everyone who's hit a just ton of home runs like Hank Aaron and see how far he ran. That's so sick. That's awesome. I wanted to add one more guy before we head over the interview to the baseball stats. For the first month of the year, Marcus Semien was like the worst baseball player statistically in the league. He was awful. Like he was absolutely terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And he like everything corrects itself. Marcus Semien is a beast. So for the last like month and a half, 2 months, he has been on an absolute tear. I'm trying to figure out like not only like when I say he was the worst player in the league, like he was one of the worst players in the league. And now he's got his batting average like back up to 220 and it's climbing. Like he's starting to go off again, which is the Rangers need desperately right now. He's up to 10 bombs. So I would say like the second half of the season, I'm no fantasy baseball guy. I don't even know how it works, but I would try to trade for Marcus Semien. Yeah, I'm thinking fantasy football right here. If somebody had a bad first half and I know they're gonna have a good second half, I'm buying low. So buy low on Marcus Semien. So that's the stock talk for the day.
So another guy that's been heating up recently is Brian Reynolds with the Pirates. He is top 4 in the highest career batting average in June. And some of the 1 through 3 is at 381 is Joe Jackson. Lou Gehrig hit 378 in June. Ty Cobb hit 373, and Brian Reynolds is at 371 in the month of June.
The weather heating up. Bats getting going. Brian
That's
Reynolds getting hot just in time for the trade deadline.
That's right.
Do you just like look around the league at like all the guys who used to be Pirates and be like, this is just makes me want to vomit?
I mean, you kind of know that they were never going to.
Would you win a World Series with teams with guys that are currently in the big leagues that used to be on the Pirates? Cole, Tyon, Musgrove,
Clay Holmes,
Tyler Glasnow. That'd be the rotation.
That'd be a heck of a pitching staff.
Shane Baz
as well. Baz, yeah.
Yeah. Who's some hitters?
Austin
Kutch.
Meadows, Kutch, yeah.
Who's the guy that traded the Padres?
Adam Frazier, Starling Marte.
Starling Marte.
Yeah, he put up a good fight.
Yeah, for sure. Other than that, we'll get you over to Sam Carlson. He's the man. Great story. We talked some TikTok at the end. So for those of you who don't know what TikTok is, for our older crowd, not to throw shade, but look him up on TikTok. The dude is funny, and he's got some good ones, and just an unbelievable following. Like I the whole time I wanted to ask him, like he mentioned a Mark Pro ad, and I wanted to be like, how much they slinging you for that ad? Because if he's getting 550,000 people plus watching that's worth an ad. Because you know, like 20% of those are athletes, if at minimum. Like, that's sick. That is so sick. All right, speaking of ads, like we said, get a Turtle Box DNR 15 code, 15% off anything in the store. You can get hats, shirts, stickers, whatever it is. So everybody hop on there, do that, and when you do, shout us out. Other than that, have a good week. Stay sparkling. All right, today we welcome on a very special guest, right-handed pitcher with the Mariners, former top prospect out of high school, and social media sensation, Sam Carlson. Sam, what's going on, man?
What's up? What's up, everybody?
Dude, I honestly, I saw you on Instagram. That was the first time I saw you, and I forget what it was. It was I think it was the video where you were talking like minor leagues and you had the chair that bent back, straight back. You went like vertical in it. I was like, who is this guy? So I was like scrolling. I'm like, this dude's hilarious. So that's when I asked you to come on. But it really wasn't until I started researching you for this pod that I was like, dude, this guy's an awesome story. So yeah, I'd like to start from the top. I want to go back to high school days because one of the first things I saw was you had a big velo jump into your senior year. What do you think? What do you credit that to? Did you specifically work on velo, or was it kind of one of those things where it just happened?
Yeah, it was. I was like a low 90s guy, like my junior year coming to my senior year. So it was like I would like grab a 4 in an outing. So I was pretty dead red set, like going to school.
Yeah.
And then I put on some weight and just like tinkered with some things mechanically. But like in the winter, I started doing some pull downs and I started grabbing some like 103s. And I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, what's this going to be off the mound, you know? For me, I was just like, what's going on? Like, this is kind of cool. And then my first outing, I was up to 97 and I hit it, I think like 8 or 10 times. And I was
sick.
I was like, oh, fuck. My agent called me and he's like, you're going to have a real tough decision to make this spring. And I was like, I'm telling you, like dead red, completely set. Like, I was like, I don't want anything to do with the minor league life, you know?
Yeah. Well, you hear about it and it sounds like people make it sound like it's just the worst thing in the world. You know how it is. But, you know, it's like everything. Once you get there, it's different. But I do want to talk about your school choice here in a minute. But first, I forgot to start the show with this. You pitched last night. Is that the first outing of the year?
I've had 3 outings.
Okay.
We'll jump into it later, but I was like kind of hurt.
Yeah. In
spring training, kind of playing through it, and then I got to the point where I was like, I got to do something because this ain't right.
Yeah.
Rehab.
Yeah. How'd it go last night? All good.
Last night was good. Yeah, everything felt good. Velo is solid. I got a new sinker I'm working on.
There we go. Got to mix that.
And it's I really like it because it really plays well off my slider and changeup. And the thing is, it's just like I just started throwing it. So I'm like, sometimes that thing moves like a son of a bitch. Sometimes it's just like right down the middle, and I'm like, where do I start this thing? You know?
Yeah.
So
that's the hardest part. It's the hardest part throwing a sinker, dude. I remember the first time I started throwing it, I bounced it off the plate literally every pitch, like trying to make it sink, you know, because like you said, you have to start it down the middle. Like that's the whole point of it. So it's kind of terrifying to start down the middle to start with and just hope it works.
Yeah.
100%. But yeah, glad
everything's
good
going
well.
So I'm happy with that.
Yeah, heck yeah. So yeah, you said you were dead red on going to school and all that. I just have to ask, did you take a visit to Gainesville?
Yes.
You did?
Yeah.
So you saw it.
Is that a church?
Right? The armpit of the United States.
In my defense, think about a Minnesota kid going down to anywhere in Florida.
Yeah.
Anywhere. Don't matter if it's Miami, UCF.
You were in heaven, huh?
Like Florida State. I was like, yo, what is this? You know? I'm like, people actually like live in this? Like, this is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I had some good connections there. Logan Shore, we played for the same travel ball team. He was their Friday guy for like 3 years before I went there.
Yeah.
And he was the one who kind of put me on with their coaching staff. Otherwise they wouldn't have like even bothered. They don't really have to recruit much like out of state. So they wouldn't even have bothered with me.
Yeah. I was wondering how that
it was pretty
about.
much like I didn't have crazy amount of schools interested, but it was pretty much between Florida and Vanderbilt.
Gotcha. 2 good options. I went to Georgia with Emerson, so it I had to give the Florida chirp a little bit before we got started. But I'm just not a Florida person.
No, I don't blame it. Hey,
especially if I'm not on the coast, dude. It's so humid. It's so different from where I live in Georgia. I'm dying right now when you're at the field, so had to chirp it a little bit. But
no, dude, I didn't even go there, so I'll like chirp all you want, you know.
Yeah, free reign. Yeah, Minnesota, dude. Like, how many games do you play in high school?
Take a guess.
I don't even know where to start. Like, I would say like 20.
20. 20 games.
When do you start? Like, it's got to be pretty late.
They try to start in April. Or is it April? Yeah, they try to start in April.
Yeah.
But then usually, like, you'll have 5 games canceled in April.
Yeah.
Like, there'll be, like, snow on the ground. And
That's
those April
crazy.
games are tough. Like, it's like it's extremely cold. And
Yeah.
I remember throwing when it was snowing out once.
That's miserable. Yeah, because we start in February, and it's still, like, it's freezing to me in February down here, but I can't imagine. I don't like the cold anyway, so it makes me uncomfortable even talking about it. But I mentioned at the beginning that you had a really good story, and I kind of want to get into that because, like, you come out, and obviously I saw, like, your second rounder out of high school and a big-time arm with a lot of potential, and you get there, and I'm sure, you know, all excited, getting accustomed to everything, and then that's kind of when the injuries start happening. What was the first injury, and how did that kind of come about?
So I had, like, if I remember correctly, it was a grade 1 UCL flexor strain. So that was in a bullpen. I think it was my like 5th bullpen, but it was like after my second start in rookie ball. And I just felt like kind of like a tugging on my elbow. And I was like, like, I don't know. It didn't feel right, you know? Like, I called my agent and I'm like, what do I do? You know, I've never had like arm troubles before. He's like, oh, it's probably nothing. So we went and got it checked out. And that's really when it started. So, like, kind of July, August of 2017. And that's like when I first started in rehab.
Yeah. This was 2018.
And then it just 2017.
2017.
So yeah, I ended up rehabbing that for a whole year before I even had surgery.
Dang. So yeah, so you went PRP first, right?
So I went rehab, and then they sent me home for the off season. They cleared me as all good. And then I came back for spring training, and my like 3rd or 4th bullpen, I threw a slider, and on one pitch, I just felt like a little piece of paper tearing, and I was like, oh God, and I just like stopped my bullpen, went in, saw the doc, and then that's when I had the PRP.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was 18, or was I was 19 years old when that happened, and I didn't know like what was going on, you know?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Like, they're like,
especially
yeah, we're gonna do a PR. We're gonna do a PRP. I was like, all right, sounds good. Like, whatever you guys think, you know. I don't want to have Tommy John.
Right. And I was the same way. Like, especially, I'm sure you've never been hurt before this, right? Like, it's your first injury. Nope. And so you go in and you're just kind of trusting everything they say. And like, I remember if I could go back, like, I would change a lot of the things that I did when the injury first happened, because you just don't know. Like, you should, like, looking back, I probably should have researched this more, but just, you don't want to research what would happen if you get hurt because you don't want to think about it. So like, you hear PRP and it like, it works for like what, 3 people ever, and then they just like, it's worth a try at some point. But dude, like, I think
it works. I think it's worth a try in certain parts of your body. I just don't know how well it works with ligaments after. Yeah. And like, the thing is, like, I was in rehab I wasn't like technically in rehab, like, but I didn't play in a game for like 1,400 days or something like that.
Yeah.
And like, I saw a lot of guys come into rehab and leave rehab and stuff like that. And I saw a lot of like guys get PRPs. I saw like, and like, this is just like personal, like what I've seen and like what I've been around. And it's like, whenever I talk to somebody, I'm like, I give it to them straight, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, hey man, like, you can try it. Is it going to work? Probably not. But like, miracles happen, you know. If you want to hope and dream, like, you can do it.
Well, I make the joke a lot. There's a guy for the Rays, Andrew Kittredge, who he had partial UCL tear, and he just rehabbed it and it worked, and he's pitching. He's perfectly fine, pitching well. And I always make the joke because everybody that comes down, I've seen it now. I've been here for almost a year, so I see guys come down with elbow injuries, and whenever they have their meetings with the people, they're like, well, you know, I'm going to try to rehab it first. Like, they've had success with it with Kittredge before. And it's always like the one example of the guy who it did work for. And it's like,
Yep.
I saw him the other day in the rehab room, and I wanted to go. I don't know him very well, but I wanted to go up and make a joke to him and be like, you know, you're responsible for a lot of wasted time around here. Like, you know.
Oh my goodness! No, right on,
us.
right on.
But no, I like what you said
for
about
sure.
how you shoot people straight, because that's what you want to hear when you're hurt. Like, for me, I would have loved that, because you know, when I'm here and I see people come back, like, it almost breaks my heart, because they come back and they're so full of like promise still. Like, yeah, there's just something messed up down here.
I missed that last part. What'd you say?
I said that when people come back, it's like, it almost breaks my heart, because they're so full of like hope. It's like, oh, I got a little elbow pain here. I'm just going to get it looked at, maybe get a PRP and be back in like 6 weeks. I'm like, dude, I'd take it easy. I'd think about your options, because like I've seen this is everybody that comes down. They're here for 2 weeks and they're out. That's what they say when they get here. So just take it slow, think about it, talk to a lot of people, do some research, because I watched two guys like you get the PRP, rehab all year, get to live VPs, and then blow again. I'm like, dang, dude, like that sucks.
100%. I got a piece to add in. You mentioned that you're like, oh, you're kind of responsible for a little bit of wasted time around here. It's like, it's kind of like the same thing, like with Tommy John in general. Like at least when I was in high school and like things you hear about it, you're like, oh yeah, like you get Tommy John, like it's like a new arm. You come back just throwing way harder, and it's like that's like the stereotype, you know. Like, we had like a little kid at the game yesterday, and he's like, hey man, like how was your Tommy John rehab? And I'm like, I don't know, it's just like rehab. It sucks, like it hurts, but like I don't know, you take it day by day. And he's like, did you come back throwing harder? And I'm like, you know, like you can, like you definitely can, but like the crazy part is like, the reason everyone thinks that, dude, is because like the guys who don't come back, you just never hear about them.
You don't hear about them. Yeah.
But the guys who do come back, you're like, oh, look at this guy. Like, he's a stud now because he had Tommy John. Yeah. And it's like, for me, like when I was in rehab, I saw like 10 guys like have Tommy John and then like either not come back fully, re-injure it, or just get released like as soon as they got back. And like, I'm like, those in my mind are all unsuccessful surgeries. They never came back to their full potential or their prior like potential. So like, yeah, I think it's got like kind of a weird rap, you know?
Well, I think because like you said, it's the people that are successful that you hear about, but you think about the people who are successful, they're dogs, like Walker Buehler, like guys like these who you know, because it's all about, to me, it's all about how much time you put into the rehab, because it's not like they go in there and give you a bionic arm and that's what makes you throw harder. Like the people that come back and throw harder, it's because they put a lot of time into their rehab and strengthen muscles that they've never really put that much time into. You know, you get your scap moving right. Yeah. You get your shoulder, right. You get all these things right that you've probably neglected for a while, and that's when you come back throwing harder.
You got so much time on your hands to like really just like dive into like who you are like on the mound. And it's like during the season, like there's so much other like so many other things like going on that you got to worry about. You can't really like put like that much effort into it, you know?
Yeah. One thing I complain about a lot is I'll be used to, I say I could roll out of bed and throw 7 innings. Like it was just like, you know what? I'm feeling great, dude. I don't need to get loose. I'd make fun of people with long routines, all this stuff. Bro, I'm in the training room 45 minutes before I play catch. This is not even bullpens. You know this. Yeah. Before you play catch, you're in the hot tub. You're doing the arm bite. You're doing all this stuff you never had to do before. And then it still takes you 25 throws to get loose. I'm like, this sucks. Screw this. It's just
that's right on.
A whole different perspective on, and and everybody who goes through it is the same way. Like I'm sure, as bad as it sucks, you don't regret anything that's happened because you've probably learned more from this experience than you ever could have on the field. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%, dude. It's like it's it's like the biggest like life reality check you can like get as a baseball player, you know?
Yeah.
Like you just like get everything taken away from you like that, you know? And you're like, damn, like everything isn't perfect, you know?
Yeah.
Everything's not going to go the way that I want it to. And like, you just got to like learn how to respond. Like, you know, it's like you can either just like hope about it or you can get better and figure out different shit, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And that's like, and the great thing is like, you're still young, you know, like you went through all this, you learned so much valuable information at a young age, and you're still young and you got plenty of time to do everything you've wanted to do. Because I mean, if I was talking about that routine, like I would have never put that much time into maintenance of my arm. Like I thought I was doing a good job before. Like I thought I was stretching, I was getting loose, I was doing all that. But compared to what I'm doing now to get loose and get ready, like it's just completely different. And I don't think I would have ever done that if I hadn't have gone through this before.
100%. Are you a starter?
Yeah.
Wait till you get in like the 5th inning next, or once you get out of rehab, you're going to be like, oh my God, like how is this thing going to get moving ever again? You know?
Yeah. Well, that's
like
I threw my 3rd bullpen today actually, and I threw my 2nd one on Tuesday. And dude, the day after, I was like, there's absolutely no chance I throw on Friday. Like I told the trainer, I'm like, I'm just telling you right now, I'm not throwing Friday. I can't do it. I can't even bend my arm. And then today, I'm like, all right, well, I think I'm good to go. I think I can do it.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's just like people ask, how you feeling? And I'll say, I'm feeling good. But it's like so relative to how the surgery is. Like I'm not feeling that good, but relative to where I was last year, I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah, no, 100%. Dude, it's like, it's just a roller coaster, man. Like, one thing that I always swear by when it comes to like Tommy John rehab is like, you have a good week, just know that like your next week's going to be shit.
Yeah.
And like, if you're having a shitty week, like in terms of like how your arm's feeling, how your body's feeling, you have a shitty one, like it's going to come back around.
Yeah.
Like you just got to give it like a week, you know? It's like, you're just searching for that like even keel, but like it is so hard to find. Like it usually takes like 2 years after surgery before everything like becomes like steady again.
Yeah.
Like even during the season, like last year, I had like 3 or 4 starts where I was like, "Oh God, like is it gonna go?" You know?
Yeah.
Where you're just like grinding through it, and you're like, you don't really know what you're feeling. You're like, is that some scar tissue? Like,
right. That's the scariest.
Is that
part,
actually my elbow? Like, what's going on?
That's by far the scariest part, because I read that like towards the end of your Tommy John rehab, you felt something in your elbow that kind of ended up not being a big deal, but that had to just completely freak you out. Like even when I get sore, I'm like feeling around. I'm like, oh, okay, where's that? Where's that? So were you like terrified to go to the trainer and be like, I feel something right here?
Yeah, dude. So I actually, it was like, so I ended up having surgery in July of 2018. And then in 2019, they were trying to get me to throw a couple innings at the end of the year. They weren't like rushing me back. They were like, hey, it'd be really sweet if we could like get you in some couple games. And I was like, yeah, for sure. So I'm throwing a pen, and I just like wasn't fully getting my velo back. And I'm like, all right, I'm missing something. So we start like working on some things, tinkering with some things. And I threw a pitch in a pen, dude, and I just felt like a pop, and like it fucking hurt. And I was like, I don't know what just happened. I just like set the ball down, and I was like, I'm done. I can't even move my arm. Like my whole arm was numb. And I was just like terrified, honestly. And I just like told our like rehab throwing trainer, I was like, yeah, I'm done. I don't know what just happened. I walked in the training room, you know, like bent arm, like I was like, hey, John, like you could schedule me in for an MRI tomorrow. And he's like, yeah, I got you. And I was like, I don't know what just happened, but I can't even move my arm. So I went in, and it ended up just being, it was valgus extension overload. So like my like bones in my elbow like hit together.
Yeah.
And I actually like had a bone bruise from it. And it's just from like extending like really hard. I'm not entirely sure like how it happens or whatever, but I've got like a bunch of maintenance things that I do now to like prevent it. I mean, as you know, like 45 minutes before you throw, like I do a lot of stuff to prevent that kind of things, like those things now. But I was like, I might have just retore it, and I'm already 2 years on the shelf at this point.
Yeah.
And I was so happy when it didn't happen, but then that was a wash for the rest of the season. You know, they were like, yeah, you're done. Like, we're just going to have you play catch and like get ready for next year.
Yeah.
And then COVID happened.
Yeah, it's terrifying. COVID sucks. COVID sucks. I did see the video though of you throwing kind of your first time back. It fired me up. That had to be pretty emotional.
Yeah, dude, it was that was like 2.5 years out or something like that.
Yeah.
Almost 3 years. Yeah, almost 3 years out. And it was pretty cool, man, because I've gotten really close with all the staff members and stuff because I've been around the Arizona facility for so long. And our farm director actually like made it a pretty big deal and was like, we're eating breakfast and he was like, I want you guys to acknowledge like what a big deal this is. This kid's been sitting here like contemplating his life for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's kind of right, you know?
Yeah. 100%.
And then I went out and threw and like, it didn't go great, didn't go terrible, but like I felt good. And I was like, you know what? Like, this is sick. I get to play again. I had completely forgotten like what it felt like to like compete, you know, play, compete, pitch, like just getting adrenaline. I was like, oh, this is just like weird, you know? Like you don't get this kind of thing playing like Fortnite, you know?
No, you cannot match it. It's like a high that you can't match.
No,
that's what.
Not at all.
There's a guy who had surgery with me at the same time as me, and so we've been going through the whole process together. And we threw bullpens the first time last week. Like I've been doing this podcast, I've been doing some other things, and it's like you said, you almost forget that you were ever a pitcher. Like it's not. It's almost like it's just a dream. Like I don't even remember the feelings that happened. And then I remember that first time on the mound, it was just like you start making pitches and executing pitches, and it's like, okay, like I remember why I love this sport. Like, this is
cool. Yeah.
And I mixed in changeups today, and it was just like,
there you go.
I can't wait to get back. It's a feeling that, like you said, you just can't match it. The game feeling you can't match. So
you throwing some breakers in like a month or two?
Yeah, we started throwing them in throwing program this week. I'm sure I'll mix those in soon. But yeah, man, and then so your first full season back was last year, correct?
Yeah, so I played, missed all because COVID canceled the season. Didn't pitch in any actual MLB games. I threw in like our instructs league, like 12 innings. But like those are games, but like
they're not games. No,
they're not games. You know,
not
like
the same. Not the same.
I don't even think we had umpires. I think we were doing TrackMan zones for some of them.
Yeah, I remember doing TrackMan zones at y'all's place. This is 2020?
This was 2020 fall, like right when everything was like.
Because I was there. I was with the Padres at the time, so I'd pitch at y'all's place a couple times. But I've told that story. It was like you make a pitch, and this was like the first time people were using TrackMan, and it was like a 4-second delay, and that dude that sat in the box. Yeah, it'd be like you'd get the ball back from the catcher, you'd sit there, strike.
Yeah.
It's like this sucks.
Yeah, no, it doesn't feel real at all. They're doing that in AAA.
Yeah, we were talking to Ryan Weathers on here the other night, and he said it's pretty fast though. Like he says that it comes through the earpiece now for the umpires, so they get it out pretty quick. But that was my issue. Like I had no issue with the zone when we were pitching at y'all's place, but it was like the delay is killing me. Like I hate this. That was my only issue. I wanted to ask you about. Go ahead.
The funny part is you go from a TrackMan delay to now we got like pitch clocks.
No delay.
Like, are you kidding me? Like, well, it's like you gotta get back on the mound. You got 12 seconds to get the next pitch, otherwise it's a ball. It's like crazy.
Yeah. Does that ever speed you up any?
I mean, there's times where you just gotta step off. Like, I think yesterday one time our catcher called time because I was like trying to get a grip on the ball. I took the rosin bag, got back on the mound. It was at like 6 seconds. I'm like, oh shit, you know.
God.
And I'm like taking the sign, come set, 2 seconds left. I'm like barely even coming set. And our catcher's like, time. And he like, which I appreciated, you know.
Right.
It's like you don't want to be rushed, man. You're trying to you're trying to execute a pitch, and like
Especially if you miss a few, like you got to get a breather. You know, you got to kind of reset, get back.
It's a pain in the ass. Or like you get a new ball and it's like freaking a cue ball, and you're like, okay, this is ridiculous. How am I supposed to throw this? You like rub it up a little bit, and all of a sudden it's like you got no time.
After the ball,
Yeah.
you just walk this guy.
Yeah,
that sucks. I wanted to ask you about playing for the Modesto Nuts.
Yeah.
Did y'all ever get just chirped hardcore on the road with the name Nuts?
Dude, honest, like, I'd say yes, but the Cal League's tough, man. Like, there's not a whole lot of, like, it doesn't feel like real baseball a lot.
Yeah. It's kind of, I've heard that. Like Lake Elsinore and all those places, that where y'all played?
Lake Elsinore is actually one of the better environments, crowds. We're in San Bernardino right now, which is the Angels. In like SoCal, the SoCal teams they get a lot more fans. Like the bullpen here is like right next to like the whole fan section, and like they're letting us have it yesterday. And that's a Thursday. So like, but like we go back to Modesto, and like, man, sometimes we have some tough crowds. Like, there's not many people and they don't know what's going on. And we've had some good crowds too, but like sometimes it doesn't feel like baseball.
Yeah, the reason I asked that is because we did like a minor league madness during March, like a full bracket of team names, and the Nuts kept winning because people just kept voting for the Nuts. They were like a 10 seed. We didn't have like a 10 seed. Like, I look at the house. It's just funny, but people just love the name Nuts. They just kept,
the Nuts.
They just kept voting on it.
We got, dude, there's a lot of jokes and stuff. We have this golden nut sack. You might have seen in my last Instagram post, and like it used to be hanging in our clubhouse. I don't know why they took it down, but I found it the other day. And it's just a golden nut sack, man. It's pretty damn funny.
That's good stuff.
But we feed into it. I mean, it's
you got to. I mean, that's part.
I actually got here. I got there's our logo right there.
Oh yeah, that's an awesome logo. That's a top tier logo.
Yeah. They got they're like social and marketing teams, like kind of starting to like take advantage of it. You know, like there's like
you could do so much with that.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like people love it. People think it's hilarious.
Yeah, you're a social media mine. I'm sure you got a gold mine. You're sitting on a gold mine over there.
Yeah, we're we play around with some stuff. There's a new crew here this year, and like they've been doing some mic'd up stuff, and like some of it's been pretty good and like pretty funny, and the people like it. And then, I mean, you'd be surprised. There's a lot of kids like. That's like one of the main reasons I do it, man. Like you can connect with young audiences like so much, and like there's so many kids that come to the games, like literally they're like, dang, dude, like I can't even believe this is real. You're that kid from TikTok. I'm like, well, I'm actually a baseball player, but yes, like, you know.
Yeah, this is a perfect segue because I do want to get in some of this fun stuff. We talked about serious stuff, you know, got to get that out there. Dude, you are like unbelievable at TikTok, and I'm sure when you first started this, you had to get kicked back from your buddies. Like, what are you doing, bro? And used to, I would have been that guy. I'm hands up. But since I've gotten into this and like trying to boost social media, it's no joke. Like you think this is something easy, you're like, oh well, if I put time into it, I could do it. You've got to be number one. You've got to be consistent, which is the hardest part.
Yep.
Number two, you got to have a good mind for it. And clearly you do. So like, when did you first notice like, okay, this actually might be something?
Yeah. So I think it was like right after that fall, like instructional league that we had. My agency, we have like he's super cool. His name's JB Greer, and he kind of just like mentioned it one time. He's like, because I always like used to give my friends crap for even like watching TikTok.
Yeah.
Like I was like, you use that stupid app, you know? And JB was like, hey, you should start one. And I was like, excuse me, you know?
Did you just insult me?
And he's like, well, he was like, no, I'm serious. Like you should really think about it. It's like it's a really like growing app. And I'm like, all right, bro. Like I was like,
yeah, you're in rehab, you're bored, like screw it.
Appreciate the advice, you know. And he's like, I ended up having like a call with some of the other marketing people, and they're like, yeah, like you'd be like really good like for it. And I'm like, why? Like, they're like, oh, like you play baseball, like you're lighthearted, you're a decent looking guy, like you can just like post some stuff, see how it does. And I'm like, all right, I'll put out a video. Like maybe like I don't even remember I think it was like a Tommy John like inspiration video.
Yeah.
And it like got like 250,000 views, and I was like, what? You know? I'm like, how the hell did that work?
Yeah.
And I never like took it seriously, you know? Like I just like would like it came my first full season, I started recording like bullpens. And initially I started recording them simply I was putting it like I got the new iPhone, it has like 4K 60 frame per second recording, and I found this like super cool angle where I'd like have it at my like where I release the ball, but it's like zoomed in so you can't see me, you just see like the flight of the ball. And it's like it's just kind of a unique angle that like you don't like I don't think anyone has ever done before.
Yeah.
So I started doing this to like work on my pitches, and then I would clip my like good pitches from my bullpen, and I'd be like, okay, this is kind of cool, and I'd put them into a TikTok video. They started getting a couple million views, and I was like, yo, what? You know, I'm like, this is weird. And then it was like everyone was like you said earlier, people just giving crap. They're like, Carlson got his pen today, he's got his tripod out there with his phone. You know?
Yeah.
And then it got to the point where I was like I still wasn't taking it seriously, but like there's this like creator fund, and I'd like post a bullpen and it'd go viral, and it's just because it was a really cool angle and stuff, and you get like some ad revenue, and I'd be like, yeah, I got like $15 the other day from like throwing a bullpen, and they'd give me shit, and they give me shit for throwing the bullpen. And I was like, hey man, like just trying to make a little extra cash, you know? $15 to throw a bullpen. And they were like, what? And I like kind of explained it, and I was like, yeah, it's kind of cool, like just I'm not doing hardly any extra work, and it was helping me work on my pitches. Like my slider got a bit loopy last year, and it was like I was like, okay, like why are guys seeing it better? Why are guys having better decisions with it? And I'm like, oh, I got to throw it harder. Found out it was like 3-4 miles an hour slower than I was throwing at the beginning of the year. So I tightened it back up, watched the videos, tightened it up, started playing a lot better. And then I just like, I think it was like this off season. I was like talking to our marketing guy, and I was like, he's like, yeah, you should just try like posting like more like non-baseball related stuff. I think I had like 50K or something on TikTok. I mean, I don't even 50 to 100.
Yeah.
So I started posting like just normal life shit, like not even baseball related, and it still did decent. Like people would interact, and I was like, okay, like maybe I can just do more of this. So it's like more than just like a baseball page, you know?
Yeah.
And that's when it really started taking off.
Yeah, and like when I say this guy's big time, he's got 534,000 followers. I've always wanted to ask people who have this many followers and stuff. Do you have your notifications on?
No, especially not with TikTok, because like that's the cool thing about TikTok is like it's kind of like YouTube, where your videos are always up, and like people can like always watch them, you know, and they're like constant. Like I can post something like today, and it can just sit there, and then 2 weeks from now it can just blow up.
That is different. That's how TikTok is way different than others. I've noticed that just in the little we've done.
The algorithm, like how it works and stuff. Do y'all got a TikTok for this podcast?
Yeah, we just started. We're trying our best.
I'll
load Schnell's questions in here.
Say what?
You got them? We got, so my co-host is playing right now. He's with the River Dogs. So I told him to record a few questions, get him in here. He's a clown. He usually provides the ridiculous questions. But yeah,
Sam,
we started doing it
for you.
There we go. Started over.
All right, Sam, I got 3 questions for you.
Let's go, boss.
I'm usually not very serious, so none of these are serious.
Disregard the
but
first one.
I want to know what's on the playlist pregame. What are you listening to?
That's so cliche.
2, I want to know how you keep coming up with content on social media. You got a bunch of followers. You got to keep them engaged. What are you doing to keep them engaged? And then what does DNR have to do to get popping on social media? We've been trying. We can't get it figured out, so we need your help.
Yeah, I got y'all. So pregame, I'm gonna be completely honest, dude. Yesterday, I was sitting there jamming to some music, playing some Young Thug, playing some Mike Stud. Like I like The Weekend. I like relaxing.
Yeah.
Like still like a little bit of rap, but I don't like to get like too serious before the game.
Agreed.
And I heard this song by Mike Stud, dude. It's called Up Again. And I played that thing like 30 times in a row, bro, because it just made me so happy every time I listened to it. I was like,
that's sick.
I'm like, I don't know what it is about this beat. And like, he's got really good lyrics, man. And I was like, so I listened to that so many times. So if you haven't heard that, go listen to that song and you're listening. It's fire. For sure.
I hate that you. I'm glad you had a cool story for that, but I hate you had to spend time on that question. That's a horrible question. That's like a question you get asked on like some random media guy from the local news station. That's terrible. I told him as soon as he sent that video, I was like, "That's a terrible question." But set 2 and 3 are good. So
the second one was how do you come up with ideas? So I never really thought I had like a mind for anything like this. Yeah. But I kind of do, obviously, because like you just have to like always be thinking like outside the box. And yeah, dude, honestly, like with my ideas, like what I try to do is I find like trends that are going on. Yeah. Like trending sounds and videos that are just doing well, that are like funny. Just kind of like introduce who you are. That's like a good way to do it, because like TikTok's always putting your videos out to like new people. Yeah. So like kind of showing people like who you are that don't know you. That's a good way to like land yourself on a bunch of different people's pages. But yeah, I just like, dude, honestly, I just like scroll through my TikTok and like videos, comment on videos, and like if I see one that I'm like right now, I got a couple of videos that I have favorited. The Savannah Bananas did one the other day.
Yeah, they're content geniuses.
Yeah, it was. Well, I've seen this trend around, but like this one like really got me because I thought it was really cool. But it's like they're like filling up the cup with water. Yeah. And you can't be the guy who like fills it over the top. Oh yeah. And like it's just like stuff like that. I'm like, dude, we could totally do that as a team, you know? Yeah. Like we could like totally come up with some like couple goofy players, like mess around, like and like now it's like it's gotten to the point where it's like there's a lot of guys who like actually like think it's freaking hilarious and fun, you know? Yeah,
and it gives you something. It breaks up the routines. Like I love it. I would be all about it, and I'm not even a guy who does much of it, but it's like it's fun. Like that's locker room stuff that kind of keeps you light. Like you said, you don't want to get too serious before you play. So
yeah, that's 100%.
That's good stuff to break it up.
So that's pretty much how I do it. Like I just like see what other people are kind of going with, and like the one thing I don't like do is like I'm not trying to like steal anybody's like ideas, you know? Like I try to like take a general idea and then you put like your twist on it, that like, and like my twist is either like baseball stuff, right? Kind of just being like an internet like fuck boy, you know, like just like truthfully, like you just like you gotta like minor league problems. Like I posted a video the other day, like people think it's hilarious because there's some like we ain't got hot water at our field right now. Mine. Yeah, and it's like right. There's just like there's so much shit that goes on, dude. We had a goddamn snake in our clubhouse. like during the game. Like we came into the clubhouse in the training room after the game, and there was a snake in there. We're like, "What the heck? Like, how in the world like does that happen?"
Yeah.
There's just like stuff like that, and like it's like I'm always like everything I look at is like, how can you like kind of turn it into something that people would enjoy, you know?
So over time, you've kind of developed that mind for it, where you're constantly kind of looking for details that you can spin in your own way.
Yeah, and like this is like a thing that's kind of taken like 2 years, you know?
Yeah.
Like it didn't like come like, and at first like you said, dude, I was like making a couple videos here and there, and then it was like the amount of shit, dude, that you like take, and I'm like, at the same time, dude, you're like, hey man, it's all right, you can give me shit, but you'd never have the sack to do something like this.
Oh, 100%. And that's why.
That's how I look at it.
So what's funny is the guy who just asked a question, his name's Nick Schnell. He's a guy who would be really good at this because he doesn't care. Like he would not care about taking any of that from anybody. Like he would love it. He would eat it up. So he's just if he could develop like what you had with that mind, like he would be good at stuff like this because he'll do anything. I mean, so it's good stuff. Y'all need to collab on one. That would be hilarious.
Hell yeah.
He's a clown.
What was the third question?
It was just how can we spin? Like how can we? Like where's a good place to start?
Gosh, I'm trying to think. Any other like podcasts that you see, like big podcasts?
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, like I think Nelk does a good job of it if you watch them at all. Where they just take clips of podcasts. Like for me, it's like when I'm making a video on TikTok, like there's a lot of like I've gotten pretty experienced with it. Like 7 to 8 seconds, like that's like the gold mine for like time on a video. And like you can blow up videos that are longer. You just have to like be able to hold their attention so much longer. It's just way harder.
Yeah.
Like for every 10 videos that you post that are 30 seconds long, like you just have to post one that's 7 or 8 seconds. You're going to get the same amount of views. You're going to go up. It's going to get put on the same amount of people's pages. And that's just like new people. And like, maybe they don't follow you at first, but like they know who you are. They know like kind of what kind of like goal you guys have as a podcast. But yeah, I just honestly like, I'm trying to think. There's one other baseball podcast that I see on my page all the time. I think they talk college baseball most of the time.
Yeah.
But like, just like learning from other people, because like you don't have to copy them, dude. You're interviewing your own people. You're like, you got your own setups and stuff like that. But like learning like what works and what doesn't work, and then you just got to experiment, man. Like I've posted so many videos that I'm like, okay, that sucked. Like I thought it was going to be really good, you know? And then I posted ones where I'm like, I literally took a minute to film, and like I did a advertisement for Mark Pro.
Yeah.
Gosh, maybe 2-3 weeks ago. And they pretty much gave me free reign on like what I wanted to do with it. And I was like, I really appreciate that, because like it really lets my creativity run.
Yeah.
And I can do something that I think is going to do well, rather than like sit there and talk to the camera about a Mark Pro where it only gets exposed to 10,000 people and not many of them are going to like engage in it. And I posted a video. It was a trend. It was funny. It was light, and it's one of the best videos I've like posted in the last month or two. And I'm like, dude, like it's you just gotta think outside the box. You gotta like, I don't know. It's weird how it works. But there's certain things that work, and then you start to build like a kind of like a niche, and then people start to categorize you and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, honestly, like if you guys are like just getting started on TikTok, just experiment, and like the more you do, the better. It's redundant as heck. Like I've got like I went through a month in spring training where I posted 3 to 5 videos a day, and my God, my account blew up. Like it grew like crazy, and like I posted some good ones. I posted a lot of average videos, but if you're consistent with it, like TikTok likes it and it keeps putting it out with people. And I also went through like once I hurt my knee, like I started getting that's another thing. Like I started getting a lot of negative feedback, and like on my TikTok videos, and like as much as you like want to like ignore it, like sometimes you're like,
it's tough too.
Damn, like screw these people, you know?
Yeah.
I went through like a month where I didn't post like at all, and I had 300 something, 400 something thousand followers, but I was like so pissed off about my knee that I wasn't playing. There's so much going on with TikTok, like negatively, and I was like, you know what? I'm done with this. I was moving out of my apartment while spring training was ended. Everybody left, but I was staying there. You know how it is. Like I was like, damn, dude, this sucks. Like I was just super pissed off, and took a break from it for a little bit, and then I think that was like a good break that I needed. You know.
Yeah.
Came back.
Sure.
And started getting creative again, and now it's like, yeah, dude, I try to put out 1, 2, 3, 4 videos a day. Like, just kind of depends on like what my schedule is and stuff. Another good thing is like having videos ready, like in your drafts.
Yeah.
So that like if you have like an excess of videos, that's good.
Yeah.
You know.
Heck
like
yeah.
It's the more the better, and then every here and there people are gonna like it.
Yeah,
it's gonna go viral and it's gonna help.
That's good stuff. Good stuff from a pro right there. Well, dude, I know you got to lift and get some stuff done. I'm glad to see a rehab warrior get out and get back on the field. It's it's a big deal. You get a new respect for people when they go through that once you do. Just like anything else. But man, best of luck to you this year. Stay healthy. Obviously keep popping on the top. And we'll have to get you back on sometime. Really enjoyed it, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, bro. And I appreciate you guys having me, and also Emerson for kind of connecting us. He's a real good dude.
The best.
I was in AZ with him for about a month, and I mean, it was just, I wasn't ever really like close with him, but being able to like talk to him and work with him on a daily basis, it was real cool. So a lot of respect for that guy, and I know he's killing up in Arkansas with us. So
I would have died if I'd have seen him pop across from TikTok. I would have literally lost it.
Emerson,
that'd have been freaking hilarious.
Yeah, he definitely. He would never like he would never say something, but he's definitely. I would not expect him to ever be like,
never.
hey, you want to put me in a video?
Never.
Absolutely not. Yeah,
all right, man.
All good though.
Yeah, for sure. Best of luck to you, dude. Like I said, I really enjoyed this valuable information, and keep killing it out there.
Absolutely. I appreciate you guys.